Hi guys, very happy to meet you again. In this video, I am going to help you to understand the final tense in active voice. In my previous video, if you had watched it very carefully, we discussed perfect tenses. All the perfect tenses we discussed. We discussed about present perfect, past perfect and future perfect. And in the category we have last three tenses. They are known as present perfect continuous tense, past perfect continuous tense and future perfect continuous tense. So we are going to have the formation of verbs for those tenses, and then we'll see how far we can go about it. And then with this video I will complete the explanation of the tenses, and then we'll go for the exercises. So maybe in my next video I'll try to give you exercises comprising all the tenses together with an example, so that you can understand all the tenses, how they work in active voices. So after completing that, we will proceed with the passive voice. Okay guys, so those who are viewing it for the first time, subscribe my channel, click the bell icon and then watch my videos till the end. They are all of great use to each one of you, whoever is ready to learn grammar. Certainly this will help you and you can improve your knowledge in grammar as well as in spoken English. So let's go to the video. Viewers, come. So I'll just write perfect continuous tenses as per the title is concerned. Perfect continuous tenses. Okay. Perfect continuous. And then we will discuss one after the other. Present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous and future perfect continuous. Okay, now as we usually do, now whenever we remember the simple present tense, of course we were discussing about the verb plus vs v1 form, then past tense v2, then for future tense we added will or shall plus present form of the verb, and then for present continuous tense am, is, are plus verb plus ing, past continuous was plus verb plus ing, then future continuous will plus be plus ing. Then in perfect tenses we also discussed about have, has plus the past participle form of the verb, future perfect continuous tense, future perfect tenses. Now today we are going to look at the perfect continuous tenses. Okay, perfect continuous tenses. Now let's remember. Let me follow the same procedure, starting with the formula. So here we also have to remember, again we have the verb have, has, and then you have the, since we have the future perfect continuous tense, we also will have to remember will also. And then the be verb, you must remember being. So this is the main, the words that we must remember when we are going to write the sentences in perfect continuous tenses. So first of all, let me write present perfect. Okay, present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous. So let me start with the subject I. So I have been teaching grammar. I have been teaching grammar for 30 years. Okay, I have been teaching grammar for 30 years. So what is your verb here? Have been teaching. So have stands for your perfect tense, been stands for your present, and then teaching is the main verb added with ing, and that stands for continuous. So present perfect continuous. Okay, I am using have, it is because your subject is I, first person singular. So similarly, we will write the sentences for all the subjective pronouns using the same verb. Then we'll come back to the formation of the verbs as a rule. Okay, then first person plural we. We have been teaching grammar for 30 years. Of course, the number of years may vary because when we use the subject we here, grammar wise it is correct, but don't take it very literally. Don't take it very literally. Grammar wise it is correct. We have been teaching grammar for 30 years. So it can mean, you can write. Then we go for the second person. You have been teaching. You have been teaching grammar for 30 years. You can reduce the number of years as subject, no, that you can reduce. Then we go for the third person singular. He has been. See, he has been teaching grammar for 30 years. She has been teaching grammar. See, she has been teaching grammar. She has been teaching grammar for 30 years. She has been teaching grammar for 30 years. Then of course it also similarly like this. It has been teaching. For the grammar purpose of it, I am just using this subject, subjective pronoun it. So it may be literally, it may not be correct sometimes, but then doesn't matter. According to grammar rules and regulations, this is correct. It has been teaching grammar for 30 years. Now who does it refer to? It may refer to, you can take, it may refer to the, again I'll come back to the robo or computer, because they are all possible these days. Can computer teach you? Yes, of course, whatever you have in computer, they are all included there and then composed, and then you have filed different sorts of file there in computer assembled there, and then you have all the programs there programmed in the computer. So all run by human being. So this can be considered as one of the its subject. So that can be understood as being teaching grammar for 30 years. Okay. Then finally you have the third person plural. They have been teaching. They have been teaching grammar. They have been teaching grammar for 30 years. So I am just using all the subjective pronouns for us to understand it. Sometimes you may take that as literally. It may not have it may not have the complete meaning. But as far as grammar rules are concerned, this is okay. Now look at the formation of verbs here. See, we have used to have been teaching. They are all same. But when it comes to third person singular, see, it has become has now. Has been teaching. Has been teaching. Has been teaching. And then finally, for the third person plural, you have come back to the same word. Formation have been teaching. Grammar for 30 years. So, what is the formula that we can frame here? Begin with subject. Plus you have the perfect form of the auxiliary verb. It could be have or has. Plus been. And then you have the main verb plus ing. Okay? ing plus the object and then the rest. Okay? So this is how the formation of verb is framed for present perfect continuous tense. For present perfect continuous tense. After writing all the tenses, we will come back to the circumstances. How all the perfect tenses are used in under which circumstances all these perfect continuous tenses are used. Now, let me make it very clear to you. Subject, have, has, been, verb, ing, and then object and then the rest. Clear? Very simple. See, perfect, present perfect continuous tense. Have stands for perfect, been stands for be verb, teaching stands for the continuous. So it has got all the tenses. Present, perfect, continuous. So three tenses together, combined together. Okay? So you are all very smart. You can easily understand now. Shall we go to the next sentence? Next sentence here? Yes, of course. Good. So let me rub this. Let me rub this. We move on to past perfect continuous tense. We move on to past perfect continuous tense. So here also it is very easy. So I am just going to rub only the auxiliary verb here. So I am just going to write only the auxiliary verb here. So what am I going to add? What am I going to add here? Simply only one auxiliary verb, that is known as had. Okay? For all the subjective pronouns are subjects. So no problem here. No problem. I had been teaching. We had been teaching. You had been teaching. He had been teaching. So here third person singular and all does not have any special rule. They don't have any special rule here. Okay, guys. So immediately we can go for the formation of verb here. So how can we write now? See, first you have the subject, the pronoun here, and then you have this straight away. You have the auxiliary verb for the perfect past perfect. No? So here let me write past perfect continuous tense. That is also correct. Past perfect continuous tense. So had plus been. And then plus verb plus ing plus the object and the rest. And the rest it will go on. So this is the formation of the verb for the past perfect continuous tense. Had been, had been. So this you must remember. Had been plus main verb and then ing. What else can you think? Very simple. Just have a look at them. Of course, as I have been telling you, you can always view my video once again. If you won't have any doubts or clarifications, you can go through the examples there. Okay guys, so past perfect continuous tense. So we are moving into the final tense now. Last tense. Last tense. Okay, what is that? Future perfect continuous tense. So I may have to rub all these things. So I may have to rub all these things and then we will see. We'll see how can we go about. So let them be there. Let them be there. Now we are going to look at the future perfect continuous tense. For future perfect continuous tense, so let me write the title first of all. Future perfect continuous tense. So for future you will have will or shall. You will have will or shall. And then for perfect you will have the auxiliary verb have. And again only have here. After writing will or shall, we will write only have. Alright? So that you must be very clear. Okay, good. So let me write the sentence for the first person singular. I will have been teaching grammar for 30 years. I will have been teaching grammar for 30 years. So similarly for other, we will have been teaching grammar for 30 years. Then you will have been, and he will have been, she will have been, it will have been, they will have been. So our table is complete now. I will have been teaching grammar for 30 years. So this is the formation of the verb. Will have been teaching. Future perfect continuous tense. So we have the simple future tense is here, perfect tense is there, and then you have the continuous tense. So future perfect continuous tense. So immediately you can frame the, of course, you are free to add the auxiliary verb shall instead of will. That is understood. That you must remember. Okay. So guys, remember how can you frame the rule now? You have the subject here. You have the subject, and then what else you have? The auxiliary verb will or shall. Okay, auxiliary verb will or shall, and then you have the perfect form have, and then you have the being, and then you have the main verb plus ing plus the object, and then the rest. See? Very simple. Subject, will or shall, have, been, verb, ing, object, and the rest. Future perfect continuous tense. That's all, guys. Just go through this once again. You will remember better. Okay. So, and that's it. Future perfect continuous tense. Now let me come back to the circumstances under which these perfect continuous tenses are used. Now I am not going to write it again on the board. If you want, you can go back to my previous videos and then see how it is explained there. So for the sake of this video, I just go at a glance explaining when and how, in which circumstances are these perfect tenses used. See, when can you use the present perfect tense? I have been teaching grammar for 30 years. So what is the understanding there? I have been teaching grammar for 30 years. So what is the reason behind? How to understand the tense? How to understand the concept? I have been teaching for 30 years. So which means I have started teaching 30 years back and still I am teaching and I will be teaching in the future. So in the future, I can say 30 years I have been teaching now. So my career has got 30 years. So which means present perfect continuous tense is used to denote an action that began in the past, continuing up to the present moment or inclusive of the present moment, and then it goes on till the future. In the future also. In the future. Present perfect continuous tense. Present perfect continuous tense. What about past perfect continuous tense? I had been teaching for 30 years. I had been teaching for 30 years. So there, of course, you have the similar verb formation, but then there is a slight change in the completion of the action there. Completion of the action. So in the present perfect continuous, we do not know whether the teaching is going to be over after 30 years. But here it is certain. Past perfect continuous tense, when I say I had been teaching there for 30 years or I had been teaching for 30 years, the understanding is that I may not teach now or I am not teaching now. That could be understood in that way also. So therefore, past perfect continuous tense is used to describe an action that began in the past and then it went on in the future also, but not now. Not now. That is the understanding. So past perfect tense is used, past perfect continuous tense is used to denote an action that began in the past and it went on for some time and it had ended. It may have ended. So I had been teaching for 30 years. I have been teaching for 30 years. Past perfect continuous tense. Now come back to the last sentence, last tense. I will have been teaching for 30 years. See, I have been teaching here for 30 years. I had been teaching there for 30 years. I will have been teaching for 30 years. Now, what is the understanding of the future perfect continuous tense? I will have been teaching for 30 years. So, which means the action of teaching began in the past and it still goes on until the inclusive present moment. I will have been teaching, which means in the future also my teaching career is going to continue. And then not only that, I will have been teaching for 30 years means I began my teaching 30 years back and it goes on, it will go on in the future also. So that is the understanding. So future perfect continuous tense is used to describe an action, as I had explained already. An action that began in the past, continuing now, it is happening now, and it will be happening in the future also. And I will have been teaching. Maybe if I refer to a particular place, particular school, I may go and say, see, I will have been teaching in the school for 30 years. Maybe if I visit my school after quite some time, I may say to the people who are there. So what will I say them? What will I tell them? See, I will have been teaching in this school for 30 years. Which means that in that particular school, my teaching service was for 30 years. Okay guys, so present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, future perfect continuous. That's it. So these are the 12 active voice tenses used in various circumstances or situations, along with the formation of the correct verb using the helping verbs also. Apart from present tense and past tense, you have the auxiliary verb also used for the understanding of the various tenses in English for the active voice tenses. So remember, there are 12 active voice tenses and they are used in various circumstances according to the rules and regulations of the tense. That is specifically there mentioned for each and every tense. Okay guys, so with this I think it is better for us to complete the video for the time being, and then in my next video, before I go to teach you to passive voice, I'll have a kind of a consolidation in active voice tenses, because when we begin to teach passive voice, we are going to decide only and we are going to write examples only for 8 tenses. That will come back to that when we deal with the passive voice. Okay, so for the time being, remember 12 active voice tenses. If you have still any doubts, go back to my video and then re-watch them. Every video has got a special grammar item taught for you, and you can listen when you are in free time, when you are alone, so that you will understand better. And many of you have given your suggestions, feedbacks. Thank you very much for all those guys who has given me and who have been giving lot of positive comments. Try to do that. Tell your friends to subscribe my channel. Make use of it very well, so that it will be easy for you to understand grammar better and better day by day for the years to come in your day-to-day life activities. Okay guys, thank you. See you next time in the next video. Bye.